Hey my friends, it's your boy Banner and welcome to another episode of Try Bonsai. Sometimes you get something to do and the experience that you get from it is invaluable, and sometimes you get a piece of work to do, a job to do, or you have a piece of work to do and you don't know how exactly to attack it. And it draws on a bit of fear, it draws on some levels of excitement, and it definitely, whether it is successful or it fails, it gives a bit more knowledge and experience into different aspects. So with that said, today, my friends, I am tackling my first ever Brazilian ironwood. When I started in bonsai, I was already going ahead. I did not know about this species and I saw it by my friend Errol, and I got this as a little whip. Probably was way less than my little finger. And this is what it is. And from this particular tree, I was able to get a couple air layers from it. Growing this as a mother tree, as I said, I took a couple air layers from it, and I think it is time that I start to treat it like a bonsai. And in that decision, I'm going to repot this fellow and start working on the top of it. But what given me a little bit of a scare, a little bit of uncertainty, is this root system. I don't know what it looks like, and it has an abnormal kind of a bulge here. So let me bring you guys in closer to see what that looks like, and then let's get to it. Yeah? So unlike what I usually do, I start from the bottom. This time I'm going to start from the top. The tree is very high. Of course, it is on a stand, which is very high, so that I could work at the roots, easily. But this is the tree, and I would have taken the last air layer I took. There was a branch growing very vigorously that I took an air layer off of, and then I did an air layer. I air layered off the top of the tree. So I have the top growing quite nicely, and I'll show you that top. And the reason why I took that top off is because it started to create a little bit of reverse taper. Well, not a little bit, it started to look very abnormal. And it had nice character, so I decided to take it off as an air layer and start that as a new tree, which was a good decision on my end. And now I have this straight-ish kind of a trunk happening here. But what happened a little off, is this bulge here. That is part of the trunk. And I don't know what the rooting system is looking like. I don't know that I could remove this. I don't know if it should be removed. What I do know is that when I eventually get this out of the soil, I'm going to know what I'm dealing with. Now, as you can see, it has this on this end, but here is quite flat. If you look at it from this side, straight. If you give it a little bit of an angle, you have a little bit of flare happening here, and obviously this going on here. But when you swing around to what could potentially be the perceived front, there is still a little bit of flatness. Now I can change the angle ever so slightly. But again, it comes back to what we have happening in this root system. So let me get to pruning back. I think I'm going to prune back first, and then we're going to tackle the root system. I left this to dry so that it's easier to work with. And there we go. Okay, so I just pruned back the top, um, giving it a start. And this is something that we have to keep working at and keep developing, because I want this canopy to be nice and dense with, what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? Smooth transitions and nice twiggy branches developing in this. So what's the next step? Getting this fellow out of this pot, and as I said, I left it to dry and it's sliding out. It's sliding out, but I need to get my tree. So let me get my tree. So I have my tree here, and I want to put this fellow into this pot. A nice training pot. It is about, what's that? 4 or so inches deep. I think this would work. If it doesn't, I gotta put in something bigger. So let me get to work. Let's get this out of this this pot, and let's start to take a look at the roots. Woo-wee. And this, my friends, is one of many of my bigger trees that I have to take out of these massive grow pots and put them into, start putting them, well, not start putting them, well, yeah, start putting them into bonsai pots and beginning their journey, because they've been growing quite well. So trust your root rake, and when I come back, it's because I would have gotten off a lot of this soil. I've seen some big guys. Oh, wait, oh yeah, there we go. At one point, where it was, it ended up, one root escaped and went to ground, and because of that, it took off in vigor, and that is how I was able to take. I used that as an opportunity to allow it to grow so that I could get some air layers from it. But so far, so good. Look at this. Beautiful bark. Nice flaky bark. Anyways, I'm going to get back to getting, well, bare rooting this as much as I can. And as I said, this is a focus here for me. Right? So let me continue with this work. When we come back, let me look at what we're doing with this. If we're doing anything with it at all, because that's a reality. It might mean that this may have to remain as an aesthetic of the tree. You know? Let we go. So I'm coming along, my friends, to the nitty-gritty of the root ball. And ideally why I came down this low is because I wanted to get to see what is happening with this and make out what is happening with this. Let me show you what is going on here. So this was a root that went and tucked under, and this seems to be that root coming out here. So I'm going to have to make a very dramatic cut and carve down. Boy, eh, eh, eh. You want experience? Take experience. So I have a couple massive roots that I want to remove. But with this particular species, I have to be very careful because I want to maintain the fine feeder root system. So we're going to continue on scraping away as much as I can until I reach where I can't scrape anymore. We're going to wash away, give it a good wash out the root system. And then we're going to start doing the removals. I've seen some good stuff and I've seen some not so savory things. So the thing is to try to maintain and keep the good things and do away with the unsavory items. And I don't want to lose this tree at all, Olia, to be honest. And I'm guessing that is why I am so jumpy about it. It's because I don't want to lose this tree. So this root here, tucked under. Ooh. And you could see it tucking under here and coming down, and this is it here. So this has to be removed. Yeah. And then with that removed now, what would I remain with when I remove that? So let me empty this tray and let's start looking at this root in parts. Take it off in parts, not holistically, because I want to make sure that when I remove this, that I don't take away the entire root system. You know, if it has to be taken in parts, Rome wasn't built in a day. So let us exercise that. And if you look at this, it makes this big turn down here and loops and goes over, and all of these big roots are part of this. Go brave or go home. Go brave or go home, my friends. So today, I am going to go brave, and hopefully, the bravery that I'm going with is not going to send this tree home to the great beyond. If that makes sense at all. And I am getting in here to try to cut the first root. And I've cut one. Ooh-wee. With this came all of these roots here. I have another root here. How to tackle this, boy? Oh my. Oh my, oh my. There's another massive root here that comes down. And off of that root, you have, wow. This, my friends, is not the most fantastic root ball in the entire world. I'm going to remove this fellow next. And in removing this fellow next, let me see what this comes off with. Nothing much. So it's starting to make a little bit of sense. Ooh-wee. Now, I reported this once before, once upon a time in Mexico. And what I did not do, and that is a lack, I chummed that up to a lack of experience, and a lack of foresight where that was concerned. I should have probably addressed these roots then on that report. So I would not have had this situation now on this report. But that said, I'm tackling it, and I'm trying to tackle it without fear, or with the reduction of as much fear as possible. So as it stands right now, I'm removing a lot of the massive roots. And there is one last fellow to be removed. And ay, 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 ay. Is there anything above him? That is the question, my friends. What we have above him. Because I want this thing, oh Lord, I want this thing to survive. Jeez and ages. Whew. To my friend Nigel Saunders, yeah, boy, yeah. Tough, tough, tough decisions. Tough. This is bloody tough. Wow. Calling all my friends' names. David from Bearded Bonsai. Meet this. Tom Novak, Clip and Grow. Bonsai for Seniors. I don't know, you know. What I'm seeing here, my friends, here's what I'm seeing. This comes down and bends across. But what is happening is that it has a series of roots, a series of feeder roots down to the bottom here. Oh. I'm going to remove it, you know. Yeah, I am going to remove it. Oh, my word. Oh, my word. This, how do I address this, friends? How do I address this? I don't think I could. It is so well connected. What I could do, scar it here, cut back here, scar it, and put some rooting hormone here, plant it a little deeper, and hope that it operates with the concept of an air layer. But where this fellow is concerned, and I don't know that my tool could go around, can it? Yes, it can. And I am making a massive cut here. Know the limits of your tools. I don't know that the tool could cut this. Friends, I try to use the tools. Again, know the limits of your tools. I was able to remove quite a bit of this, of the junky roots. As I said, I probably should have done this when it was younger, but I can't turn back the hands of time now. So what I'm doing now is chipping away at this bulky base Okay, so this has been quite a body of work. Um, it's not the best root system in the world, but it is what I have for now. For now, what I want is for this to survive, and in order for this to survive, I'm going to have to leave some items. So if you look underneath here, I move these roots from here. Not the best bit of work. I probably could have cut this a little bit lower down. Yeah. And this is a root running straight across. And I have no other roots coming out on this side here. This is what I'm hoping to foster by giving this a little bit of rooting hormone. I'm hoping to foster something. And what is this? This don't make sense here. Yeah, so I have some items here that not making sense, so I just kind of removing them. Some not making even less sense than others. And they're not adding to the survival of the tree right now. And what I want, firstly, is for the tree to survive this body of work that I did. And when it survives, in the future, it should give me more options so I could make more choices in terms of pruning. All right. So I have these supposed roots running here. Oh man, take this off and wow, that's a lot of roots I took off there without doing a proper investigation. Ay, ay, ay. Anyways, so I'm gonna put this into a pot as is, and hopefully one day I will be able to remove this root from running across from the bottom here out to the front here. And maybe, just maybe, if nothing comes from this, because this particular root has this sitting quite high, very, very, very high. Go for goal or go home. I'm gonna sink this down into the soil till it's about this, hiding all of these and hoping that I could get something from these fellas. That is the hope, that I get something really nice from these fellas. What I'm doing right now, you see me saying I'm using it as is, but I'm still cutting, is because I'm removing roots that come out and bend and go back because I want people to spread out. This is the guy now that has this root ball standing high. And if I remove him, I'm removing a lot of feeder roots, and I need this guy to survive right now, I think. Rome wasn't built in a day. And a number of things that you might wonder, but a number of ways to figure out things is via experimentation. And I believe I have pushed this tree to the furthest that I could go with it. And I'm just leaving this now. Let me give this a good dunk in some water. And I'm going to pot this up. I'm going to sink this as deep into the pot as I can. Putting a bit of rooting hormone under here. And let's see if something comes from it. Yeah. So, my friends, I am not known for tying trees down into pots, but this one I had to tie down. I have to tie. So we're going to spread this out, right, mounding up the soil a bit. And I have to get a bit of rooting hormone. And I'm dusting a little bit of, oh, that's not dust. So this is, I'm placing the tree into the pot, checking on the roots, making sure that everybody is in a nice space. Apart from that, people are pointed in directions that I want. And I'm going to put a bit of rooting hormone, as I said, on this cut point here. And the hope is that something could possibly be developed from this, like an air layer. If it doesn't, I hope it heals over nicely. And we will continue over the years working on this this root system. Yeah, that is the thing. To continue working on this root system in the coming years. So I have that there tied down into the pot, and I'm making sure that all roots are placed nicely. And as I said, I'm trying to maintain as much of the feeder roots as possible. Right? Giving this tree, a chance to survive. Because that is the goal. We did a great amount of work. I have tied this this wire down, not too excessively tight, just so that it stabilizes the tree just a bit. And as you can see, I could lift it, because what I don't want to get is that wire bite. So I'm going to clip that soon. But now what I'm going to do is to fill up with soil and countersink this, as you would have seen, quite a bit into this pot. The goal is to eventually start raising it, creating that root spread, that nabari, that gives it that aged look. Now, my friends, this will take some time to get done, but I believe that this is a good start for this tree. And the chopstick, as you see me doing here, is to make sure that I have no air pockets between the roots, and to make sure that each root is making proper contact with soil. This soil is quite light. This is way lighter than what it was. Wow. Wow. So with this now, I've given it a little press down. Not to obstruct, but to make sure that everybody is making proper contact. Let me stand back and take a look. Friends, this isn't looking so bad, you know. It didn't look so bad at all. Let me look at it in your view. It didn't look bad at all. So this is a long video. I do humbly apologize, but I encountered more than I anticipated, but that was good because it allowed me to address this particular system. And in the future, we will keep addressing it until we get what we want, which is that nice radial root system. Yeah. So let me give this a good soak in, and then let's come back and take a look at it. All right, so that is it, my friends. This is the base of the tree coming around. Maybe I could mound up the soil just a tad bit more, and I may do just that, just to make sure that it has full coverage. Or I could pack some sphagnum moss around. Maybe I could have put that into the root system. And we're back to the front and coming up the tree, stepping back so you could get overall look at it. This is the branch structure that I'm working with, that I'm starting off with. And you all could let me know what you think in the comments. You know, let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what you would have done. Because, hey, I mean, we ain't done yet, but wow. So the thing is, there are a number of items that I have in my collection that I need to take a look at. And I might have some work just as big as this or even bigger. Never to know. Or everybody else A-okay. Anyways, you know, I'm happy for the experiences. As I said, let me know what you think in the comments. And wait, hold on. Let me look at something. Hold on. Okay, so you remember I took this root off and it has a lot of feeder roots. I am going to plant this and see if anything will grow from this. I don't know if this species will do that. If it does, oh my word, it's bad. All right, so as a little experiment, I stick it into some soil. You see, don't have much coming out of the soil, just this little stump, and I put a bit of wood glue on it to, to protect the cut points a bit. And as you saw, this guy here. So I don't want to call the both of them experiments, but one is a heavy body of work and the other one is an experiment. So guys, that is it for today. Thank you so very much for joining me here on Try Bonsai. What I'm trying to do with this, in case I didn't mention it before, in case you didn't get it, what I'm trying to do with this is to create a radial root system, find feeder root system, and by removing the massive roots, it gives space for us to try to create that new rooting system that we want, or better rooting system that we want. Yeah. So click that like button. It helps, my friends. It helps a lot. It allows my channel to reach further and more people, because you never know who might be looking for information like this, and I'm here to help. Drop those comments. I like reading those comments. I like responding to the comments. Subscribe if you haven't already, and share with those who you feel might benefit from the work that I'm doing. Yeah? The sky is changing. It was sunny and bright, hot. Hopefully we might get some rain today. We haven't had some rain in quite some time. So hopefully we might get some rain today. And on that note, my friends, I'll go see you soon. Take care. Bye.
Hold on, Father, hold on.
I'll go see you soon, and I ain't say what it is that I usually say. My friends, be good to yourself. Be good to others. Treat people how you want to be treated. And remember that our climate, our planet is our responsibility. We have an opportunity to change it for the better. If not for ourselves, let's do it for the future generations. Yeah? Now I can say bye. Take care. Bye.